This video is part of a project given by the Special Ed Class 560 Inclusionary Practices from the California State University of Monterey. In this video, we are asked to choose a local resource and find information and interview someone from that resource. The local resource I chose for this project is called the Special Kids Crusade organization, and they have a website in which they state their mission, which is to develop resources, raise awareness, and provide support for children with special needs and their families. So the person I will be interviewing for this project is the executive director of the organization. Her name is Lori Luzander. And this is her information on the website, and she has experience in working in different organizations. And so she will do a small introduction, and then we will start with the interview.
My name's Lori McDonald. I'm the Executive Director of Special Kids Crusade. We're a 501c3 nonprofit. We have been around for 10 years. We were founded in 2007 by parents of children who have developmental disabilities. Our mission is to develop resources, raise awareness, and provide support for children with disabilities and their families in Monterey County.
Perfect. And so what are some families that you're currently helping, and how many families are you currently helping? Do you have that information?
We provide support to any family in Monterey County, and right now the estimates are that there are about 11,000 children in Monterey County that have some sort of disability. And we provide support to any and all of those families who need help.
Perfect. And how do people find out about the program? How do the families get referred to the program?
We are not an agency that needs a referral. Okay. We are often learned about from a pediatrician or from a school district or from another resource that might be working with a family who has a child with a disability. Okay. But many families find us probably in the same way you did, by looking us up on the internet or by even talking with a friend and learning about the programs that we have through that way.
Perfect. How is the program financed?
We get funding from several different sources. We get funding from the state of California as an Early Start Family Resource Center, and as such, we provide direct support to families who have children between the ages of 0 and 36 months. Okay. That's the age that the children are eligible for Early Start services. It's also the age at which most children are diagnosed, and a family learns of a diagnosis at that point. So we are here to support families through that period, help them access resources, and help them deal with the process and understanding that their child has a disability. So we get funding for that. We also get funding through the San Andreas Regional Center. Through the Lanterman Act, the state of California has 21 regional centers in the state. And that is how services for children with developmental disabilities and qualifying conditions can receive financial support. So we have a program called Including Special Kids that is run out of the First Tee of Monterey County. It's an adaptive social skills program, and it helps children with disabilities, developmental disabilities specifically, develop the social skills they need to be able to belong in groups and alongside their typical peers. That is for children between the ages of 6 and 18, and we receive funding for each child through that. We also receive funding through donations and general support from the community, and we also have some recreational programs that parents pay by an enrollment fee.
And what are some main events that you have during the year?
We have a lot of different things happening all the time because we do a lot of parent workshops. We have one coming up in October on helping families make the transition from Early Start services to services through their school district. So we do a lot of that. We have Mom's Night Out and other parent support groups that happen on a monthly basis. We have a theater program that takes place every spring and every fall. We have a basketball program that takes place in the winter, and we have a bowling program that takes place in the summer and in the winter. So we have a full year-long calendar of activities and events.
Okay, and so what happens at those events? Is it mainly for other families to interact with each other?
Every event has its own purpose.
Okay.
Okay, so our bowling, for example, is to work with children that have disabilities, putting them alongside their typical peers and teaching them to bowl, teaching them social skills.
Okay.
Our theater program, the same way. We put kids on stage and help them work collaboratively with their typical peers on a theater project. And basketball is the same kind of thing. So the purpose of those programs is to work directly with the kids. But the byproduct is that the parents who bring their children get an opportunity to network at those programs. Yeah, because one of the hallmarks of having a child, especially with a developmental disability, is that every child is unique. And so there isn't a cookbook. There isn't a recipe for how you approach supporting that child. And so the best way for parents to help their children is to learn from other parents and to sort of pick and choose kind of what's worked for one family, what hasn't worked for another, and to be able to develop your own system of support for your child.
In the website, there was something interesting that I saw that it mentioned that there was a long-term vision for children with disabilities. And so could you give us an example?
You know, our long-term vision really is that we live in a society that's inclusive, understanding, and welcoming of a diverse set of abilities. And that means that not only do we support the children that have disabilities and those that have a diagnosis, but that we also support those that are typically developing and being welcoming and accepting of individuals who are different from themselves. And I think that our hope is that one day there won't be the segregation that exists now of individuals with disabilities and special needs and those that are typically developing. But one of the things that's missing in classrooms is that when you put children with disabilities in a class alongside children that are typically developing, you have two separate groups in that classroom.
Yes.
You don't see them interacting. And our hope is that our programs develop a set of peer-mediated support skills so that those children that are typically developing have a skill set that allows them to be accommodating, welcoming, and understanding of those that are different from themselves, and that would translate into adulthood.
And from your perspective, do you think that in the field of special education things have changed a lot in the last 10 to 20 years?
Yes, there have been changes. Certainly, when I was a child, children with special needs, certainly those that had severe special needs, were not seen in school. I'm seeing that children today are able to see those children. They're able to understand that they exist. But unfortunately, I don't think we've come as far as we should have come by now, in that we aren't training teachers, we're not training the workforce. So I think there have been some changes, and I think we're heading in the right direction, but there still is a lack of awareness that it takes the entire community to bring the families and the kids and adults together. And I think that's where I'm hopeful that the future holds. Yeah, and I think there also needs to be a set of training that is done with parents of children who are typically developing, because there's the feeling that when children with special needs are put into a typical class, that they're pulling from the resources that could be used to further the education of the typical kids, and that shouldn't be the case.
Could you give me an example with a family that this organization has changed?
Well, certainly in a lot of ways, we've helped parents learn how to advocate for their children. And that is a skill that you don't see overnight, but you see it over a period of years where the parent feels helpless at the very beginning, feels like they are a victim of the system, and then you see that flip as the years go by. But I would probably say the most dramatic change, the most immediate impact that I've seen has probably been through our theater program. And in that program, we work with Ariel Theatrical. It's children's theater in Salinas. And we enroll children with disabilities, and they bring to the table experienced child actors that have been a part of Ariel Theatrical's theatrical programs. And we bring them together in a collaboration such that every person has a role. And over a 6-week period, they work to put on a production. And we've had kids that come in on the first day that are frightened to be left alone without their parents, that are they're having difficulty adjusting to the environment that's there. But by the end of the 6-week period, they are putting on a costume, getting up on stage, saying a line, and to an audience of parents who never thought they'd ever see their kid perform on stage in front of a live audience. And I think that in a short time frame is probably the greatest amount of impact we've seen.
This is a very short time.
You know what? It's very hard to be on stage.
Yes, I know, I see it. Someone who has a disability, it's just standing in front of a big audience must be a big deal.
You know, for some of our kids, just speaking at all is like another language.
Exactly.
And so you kind of get it. And can you imagine as a parent sitting in there and seeing your 16-year-old get up and deliver a line to an audience of 200 plus people, that people purchase tickets to go see? How rewarding that is for those parents and family members is pretty cool.
Yes, it gives them a lot of hope, I'm sure. What population is served under this organization?
We serve primarily children between the ages of 0 and 22. At the age of 22, they exit out of being able to access services through the school district. So we support them during that time frame, but I also look at it as supporting the families of those children as much as we support the children.
Perfect. All right, wonderful. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you for your time.
You bet.